Yo, 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 what is going on, guys? Joey's Juggermuck is back here with another video for you guys. And tonight, guys, it's Saturday night. I know it's a little bit late, but I'm going to give you my game picks for week 2 of the 2022 NFL season. So let's jump right on into it. And we are starting it early here. First game, we have the 1-0 Dolphins at the 1-0 Ravens. So this should be a pretty good game. Both teams, kind of had similar games, if you ask me. The defense played very well. The offense got off to a slow start, but then started to get it going in the end. The Ravens' offense got it going more. The Dolphins' offense wasn't great last week at all. But they're both defenses, regardless, played very good games. So I expect that to continue here. I've always been kind of low on the Dolphins this year. I actually think they're kind of overrated. I know they have a lot of firepower, especially on offense, but I just really don't think Tagovailoa is that guy. I mean, he's got a noodle arm. I don't think he's good at reading defenses. And again, he does not strike me as someone who has a strong enough arm to lead a team consistently. So, there is that. However, we're not in a great scenario right now to play the Dolphins because their receiving core, of course, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and our secondary already is dealing with issues because it turns out that Kyle Fuller did tear his ACL. It was not the news that we were looking for. And on top of that, so he's out for the year, of course. And on top of that, Humphrey had some nagging injuries this week. Stevens had some nagging injuries this week. Not sure if Peters is ready yet. We'll see. He did practice quite a bit this week. I'm hopeful he'll come back. But our secondary is already getting thinner. Our safeties are fine. I should say our corners are getting thinner. Our safeties are fine for now. But our corners are already getting thin. And I really don't want to make people play out of position. So that's going to affect us. So I think the key on defense is our pass rush and defensive line needs to be as dominant, if not more dominant than it was last week. Because if we can consistently get pressure on him and rush him every time, that gives me hope that Tagovailoa won't be able to get anything going. But if, our pass rush goes back to always and he's got a lot of time in the pocket, I really, really worry about that. But the good thing is the Dolphins' offensive line, besides Teron Armstead, not very good, so that does bode well for us. Offensively, of course, the annual last year was the big, the Dolphins blitz like every play, and we just could not figure it out. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think the Dolphins are going to have like a lot of new looks on defense because I think they're expecting us to plan for their blitz. So not to say we won't be ready for them, but I do think they're going to mix it up more. But I still think the offense is going to struggle. I'm really worried about the offensive line because the Dolphins have a very good front. And our line, still not at full strength yet, and it got set back with losing Juwan James last week. So I think our offensive line is going to be an issue. I think it's going to struggle, especially in pass protection. Our running game was, ironically, like a huge liability last week. So I think both defenses I think are going to win the battle, but I really worry about our offense. So I'm going to take Miami pulling this one out 21-17. I think it's going to be close, but I think Miami is going to pull it out. I think their defense is just a little bit better. So 21-17 Miami. Next game, guys, we have the 0-1 Jets at the 1-0 Browns. So the Jets lost to the Ravens last week. Really, never really had a chance. The Ravens dominated that whole game. You'd love to see that. Browns, meanwhile, played a pretty good game against Carolina. That was, of course, the big Mayfield revenge game, I guess, against the Browns because he was now on the Panthers. But it didn't happen. I mean, it looked like it was maybe it was going to, but the Browns were able to get a field goal late in the game, and they came back and won that game. So a pretty good first game for the Browns. Nick Chubb had a very good game. And I think you just got to remember that if the Browns' offensive line, as long as the Browns' offensive line and running backs, because I know Hunt and Chubb have had some injury issues in the past, if they can all stay healthy, that running game is essentially unstoppable. I mean, I know they lost J.C. Tretter, but they still got guys all over the place. Joel Bitonio, Jedrick Wills, he too. Again, it's just the Browns offensive line is so good, it just has to stay healthy. Wyatt Teller and Jack Conklin, again, guys who are very good when healthy. They just have to stay healthy. But for right now, they're healthy as far as I know. And when that's the case, the Browns' running game is lethal. And I think that's going to continue tomorrow. The Jets' defensive front actually isn't bad, though. So I don't think it's going to be like an absolute massacre. But I definitely think the Browns are going to win this game. They're at home. They're feeling pretty good about their first win. So I'm going to go with the Browns here, guys, 31-17. Next game, guys, we have the 1-0 Commanders at the 0-1 Lions. So the Commanders had a back-and-forth game last week. They pulled it out in the end. The Lions play the Eagles, I think. They had a lead for a little bit, but they gave it up and they couldn't keep up. Jared Goff had some turnovers, and then Jalen Hurts really got it going. I'm going to take the Commanders here. The Lions, I like the Lions, but they're simply not good. They are a well-coached team, but the Commanders are a better all-around team. I don't think the Commanders are that good either, but I do think they're a better all-around team. So I'm going to go with Washington here, guys, 24-17. Next game, guys, we have the 0-1 Colts at the 0-1 Jaguars. So the Colts had a big AFC South showdown against the Texans last week, and they were down big early, but they came back and managed to tie it. And in one overtime period, no team could score. So it ended up being a tie, 20-20, against the Texans. And it's just, I don't know. The Colts really struggle against their own division. It's always been an issue for them. And ironically, the team that has given them arguably the most trouble, guess who? The Jaguars, who were easily the worst team. And I'm not just saying that because of last year where the Colts just had a meltdown in the last week of the season. It's been an issue repetitively. 2020, they lost their first game of the season to the Jaguars on the road, and I guess at that point it was week 17. They beat the Jaguars, but it was pretty close. The Jaguars gave them kind of a hard time, and the Colts have lost at Jacksonville a few more times in the past as well. So it is interesting. The Jaguars seem to have somewhat of an answer for the Colts, especially for Jonathan Taylor. I know Taylor has been on the quieter side when he's played against them. At least he was last year. And will that happen again this year? We'll see. I honestly don't think so. I know the Colts are really inconsistent, but to be fair, it was, they have a lot of new additions, and it was like their first game, so maybe, they're a little rusty. They haven't totally gelled yet. I think every week they will get better. Matt Ryan, always a wild card with him, but again, his first game with a new team, I understand if they didn't play as well as they would have hoped. So I do think they're going to continue to gel more as the year goes on, and I know it's in Jacksonville, and the Colts just can't seem to win in Jacksonville. I think they are going to break that streak tomorrow and pull this one out. So give me Indianapolis here, guys, on 27-13. Next game, guys, we have the 1-0 Bucs at the 1-0 Saints. So again, another divisional game, and where the Bucs I think are the better team, but the Saints have the Bucs number, man. Swept them back-to-back years. I know the Bucs did beat the Saints in the playoffs, but the Saints do know how to defend the Bucs. There is no question about it. So we'll see what happens here. It's in New Orleans. The Saints much, much better at home. They had an up and down first game, I think. But again, it's their first game back. Jameis Winston got off to a cool start, but they were able to come back and win against Atlanta. But again, Atlanta, it's seriously, it's like they're doing it on purpose because they can't hold leads. At this point, they have to be doing it on purpose because it happens every single time. Meanwhile, the Saints are at home. The Bucs honestly didn't impress me much in their first game. Their defense played pretty well, I'll give them that. But offensively, they really didn't play that well. They scored, 19 points against the Cowboys. The Cowboys defense, it has pieces, but it's not very good all around. So I'm going to hit the Saints here, guys. Again, the Saints, I think that they have a lot of firepower when healthy, and they're finally healthy for a change. And they just seem to have the Bucs number for some reason. So I'm going to go with the Saints here, guys. 30-27. Good. It's going to be a good game, though. Next game, guys, we have the 0-1 Panthers at the 1-0 Giants. So the Panthers taking a close loss last week, as I mentioned, against the Browns. Giants, meanwhile, was very impressed with their comeback against the Titans last week. Titans had a lead, but the Giants came back. They went for 2. They pulled the Harbaugh, except they were able to convert. So props to them for that. What really gave me hope for the Giants is Saquon Barkley had a huge game. The Titans defense did play like absolute crap, at least against the run, but Barkley had a huge game, man, and I continue to push the narrative that Barkley his biggest issue is his health, man. You just gotta let him get healthy, and he's an elite running back when he's healthy. I'm sorry. People so tired of the Saquon Barkley disrespect, man. The guy is really good. He just needs to stay healthy. And he's finally back after tearing his ACL 2 years ago. And we'll see. I think that game last week was only a precursor. I think he's going to have a big year, again, if he can stay healthy. It's in New York, but I actually do think the Panthers are going to win this game because the Panthers, it was a good game. It's not like they got smoked. And again, another team with a new quarterback, I don't think Mayfield's good, but, it could take them some time to gel. They are a good all-around team. I know they have a lot of talent. So I'm going to take the Panthers winning this game, guys. Let's go with Carolina 27-20. It should be a decent game, though. Next game, guys, we have the 0-1 Patriots at the 1-0 Steelers. So the Patriots, again, kind of got dominated by the Dolphins last week. They couldn't get anything going offensively. Defensively, they played okay, I guess, but they weren't great. Pittsburgh, meanwhile, a wild win against Cincinnati in week 1. Missed field goals, bad snaps, everything, all over the place. Classic AFC North showdown. But they pulled it out, so props to them. However, they had to sacrifice some people for it, particularly TJ Watt. He has a torn pectoral muscle, I think they said, and they did dodge. He's not going to have season-ending surgery, but he is going to be out several weeks. So he most certainly is not playing this game, and who knows if that injury nags at him. He's going to be gone for a while. I also think Cameron Hayward went out in that game limping. I don't know what his status is. I mean, I don't think it's anything serious, but I'm not sure if he's playing this game, and if he is, he's probably not going to be 100%. So the Steelers, they're banged up already, and that really concerns me just for their status going forward. Again, I know as a Ravens fan, I hope the Steelers do not do well, but I also never wish for injuries, and I hope Watt has a speedy recovery and anyone else. But regardless, the Steelers' offense really didn't do that much last week. I mean, they scored 23 points. Trubisky, up and down, but not great. But then receivers, you got Johnson and Claypool. It's a pretty talented group. Patriots, meanwhile, again, they're hanging on, but I don't think they're going to be that good this year. I really think that they got worse in the offseason. But I am going to hit the Patriots here because, again, the Steelers are really banged up. They barely won last week. And the Bengals definitely made some mistakes that kept them in that game, such as the missed field goal. Burrow threw, 4 picks was it or something like that? So I'm going to hit the Patriots pulling this one out, guys. I think it's going to be low scoring, a slugfest, kind of boring. But give me New England pulling this one out 22-13. Next game, guys, we have the 0-1 Falcons at the 0-1 Rams. So the Falcons, again, they had the win. They had it in the bag, but nope, they found a way to lose last week against New Orleans. Rams, meanwhile, kind of got destroyed by the Bills in the kickoff. This is going back to the kickoff opening night. Yeah, they really did not play well. 31-10. I mean, not an absolute blowout, but they were not very close either. But I think this is a golden opportunity for them to bounce right back. They're at home again. The Falcons may give them some trouble because they like to do that, but they just cannot sustain leads and they can't hang on in the end. So I could see the Falcons having a lead, but then the Rams will come back and win. I don't think the Falcons will be able to hold it. So I'm gonna go with the Rams here, guys. Let's go with LA 27-24. I think it's gonna be close though because the Rams don't like to easily blow out teams. So give me Rams 27-24. Next game, guys, we have the 1-0 Seahawks at the 0-1 Niners. So the Seahawks coming off a Week 1 win over the Broncos, Russell Wilson reunion, but the Seahawks got the better of them. It was a close game. Neither team played great, I don't think, but the Seahawks got the win. Niners, meanwhile, did not play very well in their first game. It was against the Bears in Chicago. Granted, I know the weather was absolutely horrible. No surprise, Chicago weather sucks, but it was like a slip and slide. The field was in bad shape, so I think the Niners returning home, and the Niners are a team that plays much better at home as well. So I think this will really help them out. Trey Lance did not play a good first game. I'm not as high on Trey Lance as a lot of other people are. But then again, it's the first game, and I do think that it's going to be, it's going to take some time to gel. I get it. I think this is a good opportunity for the Niners to bounce back. They're at home, coming off a tough loss to the Bears, but I think that they're the better team. And if they can get that rushing attack going, I think they'll be able to get the better of Geno Smith in Seattle. So give me the Niners winning this game, guys. 24-17. Next game, guys, we have the 0-1 Bengals at the 0-1 Cowboys. So the Bengals, very tough game last week against the Steelers, as I mentioned. Took the tough loss. A lot of mistakes on both sides, but especially for the Bengals standpoint. Cowboys, meanwhile, kind of played like crap against the Bucs last Sunday night. Couldn't get anything going offensively. Defensively, they played okay, but definitely not good enough to win. And the Cowboys, too, are very banged up. Dak Prescott is out for several weeks. He's got hand surgery or whatever it is. And then their offensive line's banged up because Tyron Smith is out. And I think they got a couple other guys who are out as well. So they're having a hard time staying healthy. The Bengals, meanwhile, for now, they're healthy as far as I know. And I think they're going to be really motivated after that tough loss at home last week to Pittsburgh. So give me Cincinnati pulling this one out, guys. Let's go with Cincy 31-28. I think it's going to be higher scoring, but Cincinnati pulls it out 31-28. Next game, guys, we have the 0-0-1 Texans at the 0-1 Broncos. So as I mentioned, the Texans had that tie against the Colts last week. Broncos, meanwhile, they had a tough loss week 1, but again, they're another team that, a lot of new additions this offseason, so it's going to take them a little bit to gel. So I think that they're going to be more, they're almost always like a team that starts out hot and then flames out. I think this year's kind of going to be the opposite. They're going to get off to a bit of a cool start, but then pick it up as the year goes on. So despite them maybe getting off to a slow start, I do think they'll be able to win this game. They're at home. Broncos play much better at home than they do on the road. Russell Wilson's first game at home as a Denver Bronco. The Texans suck. So I'm going to go with the Broncos here, guys. Let's go with Denver 28-14. Next game, guys, we have the 0-1 Cardinals of the 0-1 Raiders. So the Cardinals kind of got embarrassed by the Chiefs last week at home. That game was not as close as I thought it would be. I just had to get my English right there. I thought the Chiefs were gonna win, but I thought it was gonna be closer than it was. It really wasn't. Continuing to push my narrative that Kyler Murray just isn't that good. I'm sorry, he's not. I know he got the bag this offseason. I don't think he was worth that much. I'm sorry, I don't. Granted, his defense played like crap, but Murray did not play that well either. Marquise Brown, his first game as a wide receiver 1. Again, he too, I know it's going to take some time for him to adapt, but what also helps is he and Murray are familiar with each other. They've played together in the past, so that should help them boost their chemistry. But they didn't really have it in the week 1. Raiders, meanwhile, took a tough loss to the Chargers. They are another team that I think, both teams actually, but the Raiders especially, I think they're overrated. I really don't think that they have a lot of firepower, but I don't think that they're very well coached. I really think that their interim head coach was good, and they should have held on to him, but they didn't. Defensively, again, they got worse. Again, they had kind of a better year last year, but then it got worse. And I know, offensively, they got Devontae Adams, Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, but that's not always going to be enough. But what this does tell me is I do think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Two very high-powered offenses. But I'm going to go with the Raiders here, guys. I like Derek Carr. I think I like what he can do. The Cardinals' defense really isn't that good, and I still am taking the Raiders' defense over the Cardinals' defense. So I'm going to go with the Raiders here, guys. 34-31. Going to be a very good game. But let's go with the Raiders 34-31. Okay, guys, this is our Sunday night football game for this week. We have the 1-0 Bears at the 0-1 Packers. So the Bears, again, a sloppy slip-and-slide win over the 49ers in week 1. Packers, meanwhile, kind of got smoked by the Vikings. They, it was 23-7. Justin Jefferson had a big game. Rodgers couldn't get anything going. But if I'm a Packers fan, I mean, there's obviously some big question marks about that team, but I'm really not that worried for their standpoint, honestly, because the Packers are almost never good week 1. They sit all their starters in the preseason, so they're, kind of rusty in the first game, so no surprise for me. I mean, I would have thought it would have been a bit closer, but remember, they got shellacked by the Saints last week in week 1, and then they went on to at least be the number 1 seed before choking in the playoffs, but that's a separate issue. The Packers are always sloppy week 1. I think they'll bounce back just fine, and I think this is a great opportunity for them to bounce back. Yes, the Bears got a win week 1, but they it was kind of a cakewalk. It was bad weather. Their offense didn't play very well. It's in Green Bay here. Packers much better at home. The Bears really struggle on the road as well. The Packers do, but Aaron Rodgers especially owns the Bears. Sunday Night Football at Lambeau. I definitely think the Packers are going to take this one. So give me Green Bay winning this game, guys. 31-17. Next game, guys, so this is the new thing in week 2. They basically do a doubleheader on Monday night, so rather than doing it week 1. So our first Monday night game, we have the 0-1 Titans at the 1-0 Bills. So the Titans, of course, taking that tough loss to New York last week. I guess I forgot to mention the Titans had a chance. They marched down the field. They had a golden chance to kick a game-winning field goal, but no, Randy Bullock missed it. So they had a chance, but Bullock choked. Bills, meanwhile, looked very good in their first game. They played very well offensively. Their defense got the job done. They played well enough. The Bills, another team that are much better at home than they are on the road. The Titans, they took that tough loss to the Giants, but their offense is going to have to put up a crap ton of points if they want to win this game, because I know that the Bills' offense is going to get the better of the Titans' defense. And I'm not sure the Titans can do that. I know they have Henry, but if the Bills are scoring so many points, the Titans may have to throw the ball a lot more than they want to. So I think that's going to lead to, just an imbalance. And the Bills are at home. They looked great week 1. The Titans have lost a lot of their firepower despite still having Derrick Henry. So I'm going to go with the Bills here, guys. Let's go with Buffalo, 30-23. I think it's going to be a pretty good game. So 30-23 Buffalo. Okay, guys, this is our last game for the week. We have the 1-0 Vikings at the 1-0 Eagles. Another game of the second game of the Monday night doubleheader. So the Vikings, they've looked good week 1. Another team much better at home than on the road, especially for Kirk Cousins. Eagles, meanwhile, got off to a sloppy start against the Lions, but they got it going and they were able to pull out the win. It was pretty close, but they pulled it out. I am going to take the Vikings here, though, and I know it's risky because the Vikings really struggle on the road, again, especially Kirk Cousins, but they really looked pretty good last week, and their offense just has so much firepower, man. You got Cook, Thielen, and Jefferson is just, he just keeps getting better and better, if you ask me. His route running is really crisp. Eagles, meanwhile, again, they have firepower too. They got Hurts, they got Devontae Smith, they got A.J. Brown, who had a very big debut. A.J. Brown, another guy, his biggest issue is his health. Just let him stay healthy. He is nasty. It's in Philadelphia, but I like the Vikings winning this game. Despite the Eagles having a lot of firepower on offense, their defense, again, it's pretty good, but it also is getting old, and I do worry about the long-term future of that, and some guys can get banged up, and I don't think it's really the long-term solution. So give me the Vikings pulling this one out 24-20. I do think it's going to be a good game. I think both offenses will struggle a little bit, and then the defenses will kind of fold in the end, but I'm going to go with the Vikings here, guys, 24-20. As I just said. So that is going to do it for this video and my game picks for week 2 of the 2022 NFL season. Hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys tomorrow night after the Ravens game. Enjoy week 2.